Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here representing Jason Blaha Strength and Fitness, and today I'm going to briefly discuss for you guys kind of the three things you could eliminate or moderate from your diet that will handle 80% of your problems. But a quick reminder, if you guys will please click like down below, it'd be greatly appreciated. If you're not following or subscribed, please do so, and if you'll be kind enough to drop me a comment down below, I'd appreciate it so much. Thank you. So let's get over to this topic. You know, when I do a video like this or make a statement like this, people will invariably get upset. They'll argue with it, which is again ludicrous. Everything I'm saying here is extremely well supported by enormous amounts of evidence. Or they'll get mad that I didn't add more to it. I want to add a fourth, I want to add a fifth, I want to add a 37th. And I would say to guys, look, it's kind of one of those things where it's like I'm telling you, if you do this, it will get you 80% of your results. It doesn't mean that we need to have all the details on the other 20%, because these are really, really simple, and this is stuff that almost anybody can easily do unless they have an addiction problem. Does that make sense? This is just like, look, this is the easy, so super, super easy stuff that will handle most of your stuff. And if you just did these things, most of the rest of it will start to fall together anyways. I mean, it doesn't mean there's not another 20%, but people keep wanting to add 1% more. So they love to do that. It's going to happen. Watch, you guys will see what happens. But I'm gonna cover it anyways. So the thing is, two things if you cut them out of your diet completely, and then one if you moderate it, will actually literally get you most of your results. And I think it's important to note the moderating the saturated fat, because there's not necessarily benefits to taking it to zero, right? Unlike alcohol, no degree of moderation actually stops all the negatives. Does that make sense? The evidence on that is overwhelming. So again, saturated fat, we'll cover that near the end. All right, the evidence for that is overwhelming. All the cancer researchers around the world have pretty well concluded even 1 or 2 drinks a month is enough to significantly and measurably increase 7 types of cancer. Like, this is before you even get into all the other negatives. Like, alcohol is arguably the most poisonous thing we consume by a pretty large margin. Like, so everyone who's worried about pesticides and all these other things, I'm not telling you not to ever worry about them. Let me make that. I'm not saying, well, you should just be drinking a gallon of pesticide. I'm not telling you something crazy like that. What I'm telling you is, a couple of drinks a month is arguably probably a much more poisonous load for your liver and your body than probably any amount of pesticides you're likely to be consuming. Not saying 100% guaranteed, but pretty likely, other than some extreme cases, a couple drinks a month are going to actually be more poisonous. And I mean directly poisonous, toxic to your liver and stuff. So it's up there. But in terms of the carcinogenic effect, I mean, even drinking in moderation, the data is extremely clear on that. It is absolutely extremely carcinogenic, even in very small quantities. And it's an addictive poison. And as far as everything else goes, all the other negatives, they all scale in a dose-dependent manner from there. So it is one of those things that if you can just completely avoid it, it's massive. Like, that one alone is just absolutely enormous. Absolutely enormous. And it's the one thing that if everyone cut out of their diet completely and just completely abstained, all your health and fitness stuff, you would be stacking the odds dramatically in your favor. It's up at the top of the list. And I don't want to say saturated fat isn't number 2, but I'm going to throw it in number 3 for reasons of you can get away with moderating it with no negatives. All right, refined sugars, people try to make some cases for, well, you can moderate it, but there's still data showing minor risk even in moderation. What do you mean? Like one sugar sweetened drink a week, like 1 Coke, 1 Pepsi, 1 Dr. Pepper, whatever. 1 sugar sweetened beverage per week. Even the most new meta-analysis that came out this year said, yeah, that 1 drink a week is enough to increase diabetes by something like 8%. Just one. So it kind of falls in that category of, if you are evidence-based and you're looking at the actual evidence, you see what I'm saying? Even 1 a week is enough to cause measurable harm. It's not, hey, it's perfectly fine in moderation. Well, no, the risk goes down in moderation, but it's not zero. go on the evidence. And that's my frustration. You'll have stuff like that, and it's like you'll have all these studies, and you will literally have clowns. Well, I don't believe any research. I believe research is biased for big pharma or whatever. It's like, okay, so you're really telling me that you believe refined sugar and alcohol are healthy? That this is a conspiracy? Come on, just stop. There's a major conspiracy by big pharma to stop you from drinking alcohol, which is a known poison and carcinogen. And they're trying to convince you not to eat refined sugar. They're trying to tell you, oh no, high fructose corn syrup, you probably shouldn't be having that, or table sugar. Yeah, you really think that there's a conspiracy to make you stop doing it because it's going to make you healthy? That is what you sound like when you say that. Just stop. Data is pretty overwhelming. Plenty of studies. We know refined sugars pretty bad, not good. Really shouldn't be consuming them. And the problem is that that's the most recent data shows that in moderation, it's still harmful. All right, same thing. We come over to saturated fat. Saturated fat, what we see in moderation, isn't harmful. In excess, it is worse than refined sugar. So that's kind of the point of that balance there. People, then they get mad. The people who are anti-sugar, they're pro-saturated fat, they just loved my last statement. They're going to hate me for this one. In moderation, saturated fat appears to be perfectly fine, appears to be neutral, not a positive or a real negative. Part of that moderation is how much fiber and vegetables and stuff are you eating with it, and the source of the saturated fat. The context matters, right? How refined is it? In other words, a saturated fat in butter, dramatically worse than whole milk. Dramatically worse than what's in a steak, too. That's evident. That's what the data shows. But yeah, even steak in excess, absolutely a problem. Now, what I'm telling you is no one's getting hurt from eating a lean sirloin steak. Look, you eat an 8-ounce sirloin every day. You have a healthy diet, plenty of vegetables, fruit, fiber. You're not going to see a negative on your blood work from a lean steak every day. You're probably not. However, in excess, absolutely devastating. Cardiovascular disease, insulin resistance, cancers. With cardiovascular disease and diabetes risk go up dramatically as soon as LDL-C starts going up from it. And people love to argue against that. I'm sorry, but the data is very clear on that. So again, we're talking about evidence, not conspiracies. So moderating saturated fat, a good idea. In other words, few eggs a day, not going to hurt you. Lean sirloin steak once a day, not going to hurt you. Putting butter on everything, eating, 40 grams of saturated fat from a ribeye a day or bacon, it's going to hurt you. Moderate it. Keep it reasonable. Keep it in check. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I'll talk to you guys and gals next time.